It's Majors Week, so let's focus on the FPO. First, by keeping your hands off of the USWDGC. There was a huge deal announcement with the All-Women's Sports Network and day one action that proved far too many people slept on Evelina. Welcome back, disc generates, to This Week in Disc Golf, where I cover all things disc golf from the past week. For the ones who don't know and are wondering who I am, I'm just a guy who made his identity after my poor disc golf game. Or just Swiss cheese. But most importantly, I'm just one half of the disc golf world. The YouTube channel that hits just as hard as any traditional disc golf podcast. Just in a fraction of the time. And if you're listening to this and you're near the Milwaukee or Chicagoland area, make sure you don't miss us at the Black Lung Brewery in Round Lake this Saturday afternoon to celebrate our very first tournament and beer collab, both titled First Available. Now that's enough self-promotion, so let's just get back to the video already. Every year, the disc golf community goes through the same routine, celebrating and cheering on the USWDGC when it's the solo event tossed in the middle of the season, only to be willing to drop it by most fans like it's a bad habit months later come USDGC. And as large of a spectacle Winthrop is with its history, spectators, and the venue itself, the Pro Disc Golf Association is right not to give its major status over to Innova. The USWDGC is more than just the Pro Division contest. It's an event that pulls women from across the globe with over 300 participants, 19 divisions and age groups that span from U10 to 70 plus. Coming together for the camaraderie, support, to see old friends, to make new ones, the competition that brings the best out of them, and maybe most importantly, a safe place to be themselves. Even if it does include a 4 Non-Blondes cover from Cat Merch. And sure, it might make males feel a little peculiar, but to put it frankly, who gives a shit? Just like me for the ones who missed that last bar. Just like I'm sure Jefferson did. But you can't go and lose all that just for the optics of the title of the end of the year. Even if it does make fans or personalities feel warm and fuzzy when they consume USDGC. And since adding just another major for the FPO roster is too difficult for the ones trying too hard to be like the PGA, instead of acknowledging we're the weird sport that involves plastic flying frisbees that has the ability to act and think for themselves, we're stuck. Because you can't just toss 26 years of history where the women's side of the game is not only the feature, but promoted at all levels for a full week. To only become a major at USDGC that provides the same coverage it does as the Throw Pink Championship now. Last week, we covered Nate Perkins nearly revealing or creatively teasing, depending on your perspective, a big announcement. Well, this week on All Birdies and No Bogeys podcast, they finally did.
We have a new deal with an enormous network. The All Women's Sports Network is going to be broadcasting live DGN feeds on their channel first round for a very large number of events.
This is quite the prodigious deal. And that's coming from me, the one who has been critical of prior disc golf broadcasts and the thought our sport needing television coverage to grow. Yes, Nate may have oversold it in the tease, but I'm not here to argue that, and nor can you argue that exposure and representation is another avenue to hopefully attract women to our game. And if we're being honest, something our sport has had a difficult time doing at times. I'm not going to dive into the numbers of possible viewers this partnership now provides, because it's still less than what YouTube does currently. However, with this being a live broadcast to a far more open audience when compared to those other post-produced ones on CBS, certainly gives this latest deal a leg up and less criticism. Will it create mass viewership? Maybe not. But does it give the sport more exposure to possibly make it happen? Yes. So to all the dgpt employees, those on the ground, and even the ones in the offices that we know are listening, though they may not act like it in public, allow me to say this. This is a great job in attracting another outside partnership we have seen announced this year that does deserve the acknowledgement and praise of the community. You certainly got it from this guy. And I'll let Brian rattle off the other events that will provide that coverage on cable before I get into the day one recap that had plenty of shocking results.
Entire tournament broadcasted live, and then the first round of the Discmania Challenge, PCS Open, Crocal, World Championships, Turku, Ledgestone, Idlewild, D-Glow, GMC, MVP, Throw Pink, and the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, all on the All Women's Sports Network. This is like the biggest most accessible deal that we've ever had in disc golf.
In the lead to this major since Champions Cup, the FPO field has been split by an ocean, creating a division of narratives surrounding the current top 4 in dgpt points. As Kristen Lott, Silva Saarinen, Holland Hanley, and Missy Gannon all shined with victories in that stretch. Funny enough, forgotten in all those debates, rankings, and tier list was Evelina Salonen. Her time away from the tour to be a bridesmaid in golf certainly contributed to that. But this is the same player who took 2 of the 4 majors just last year. Proved there was no rust by shooting the hot round 8 under, where her 86 C1X percentage was just as pretty as her ace on 16. That and her back half also saved fans from a brutal feature card round that collectively went 15 over. That had 3 of the big 4, with Kristen and Silva finding themselves 7 strokes back currently with a 1 under round. And Missy shooting 8 over that has her in 59th place. And if you're wondering about Hanley, she didn't fare too much better either. She's currently sitting 6 strokes off the pace in 7th place. Henna Blumroos was also impressive in her return to the tour, finishing her round with a 7 under and the second best shot of the tournament with her slip park job on 10, which resulted in the only birdie on the day, while also debuting a new putt with more spin and a staggered stance. And though it was not tested too greatly with only 6 total C1X putts, it did appear to be more confident when it was. Behind Henna, you have 4 players at 5 under. Wisconsin's own Haley King making a statement while rocking an open bag. Owen Scoggins, whose only bogey was a double. Lucky Lorenzen, fresh off a pregnancy announcement and a hot putting performance. And Sophia Donica, who only had a single bogey on her round. With 3 more days and another course, there's still plenty of disc golf to be had. I only got a few more USWDGC notes before we get over to the quick hitters. Kona Montgomery dropped from competition due to an illness that's popping around the tour, and Katrina Allen also DNF'd. There's some other recognizable names out there leading their divisions, including Holly Finley and Hall of Famer Juliana Korver. That, and over in the 15 under division, it saw only the 3rd 1,000 rated round of the entire day, as Haley Huber of Colorado, 10 under, 10-10, unofficial rated round, was up there with the 2 Finns in the FPO. Now let's get to a few quick hitters, and we'll throw the guys in there also. Only because everyone needs to see Turner's filthy new cut that has the pumping ace man looking like he knows his way around a firework. Just a general observation here, but can we get off the trophy judgment and move that aggression towards commemorative disc stamps? Only because it's sillier, and Silva's preserve one deserves some notoriety. Rebecca Cox celebrated a birthday. Silva ended up celebrating her preserve win inside Mama Duck. Could you guys just imagine if the stoic Silva, the one who looks like she knows the world's funniest joke and enjoys not telling anyone about it, hit that Kristen espresso macchiato celly? Now that's what our sport is truly missing. The USWDGC Players Pack was absolutely sick, with its own tie-dye shirt station and a coloring book. There were some off-week scenic views from Thomas Gilbert and Jakub Semerad, and if Kelvin Heimberg's involved, some hounding of rocks. World's Map release kicks off the countdown, and Disc Golf made John Boy as they covered the Northwest Championship's final hole. And guys, that wraps up this week in Disc Golf. Shout out to those on the Patreon and all those who've stayed this long for me to thank you. And like always, if you've enjoyed and not subscribed, make sure to do so. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, comment, and share.